Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye and I post beginning level acrylic painting tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can join the fun and paint along. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Alright, so we are fast approaching the 4th of July, which here in the United States is of course our Independence Day celebration. So I wanted to do a painting that really captures that kind of feeling where the sun's going down and you have some nice beverages out on the back porch before the fireworks start. So I came up with this fun idea of doing what I call a cherry sparkler painting. Which is what I would name these drinks if I was hosting a little get together. And I'm going to be using my 4 standard brushes for this class as per usual. So I use a kit that comes with 4 brushes, and this kit comes with a large square wash brush, a medium-sized pointed brush, and 2 small detail brushes. Gonna get those in the water cup off the side of my screen. And then the colors that I have to start with, just for the background step, I have some black and white, a little bit of burnt sienna type warm brown, some yellow and some orange. These are cadmium yellow, cadmium orange. I have a cobalt blue and an ultramarine blue, so 2 different hues of blue. And then also a little bit of my favorite phthalo green. To see a full materials list of everything that you need to paint along, check the description box below. All right, let's go ahead and jump on in. All right, so as I was mentioning earlier in the intro, I wanted to capture that feeling just when the sun sets. So there's a little bit of like yellow, still sunlight, a little bit of orange yellow at the horizon, but nightfall is coming and the fireworks are going to start soon, and we have a great vantage point maybe here on this perhaps balcony. That's what I was going for in my head today. So I'm going to start with like a ledge here for my balcony, and this is also going to be where my drinks are going to rest. So I'm going to take a light brown and my medium brush here, so just brown with white together, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line across as even as I can, just a few inches up. You want enough space to be able to line your drinks up, but not so much to where we lose that sky. So just a little bit there, and that's going to be our first little line of separation here for the different areas. And we're going to fill this bottom part in with that same color brown. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab my bigger brush for that. Might as well. And I'm going for like a balcony or a porch railing. So going for a wood look here. So I'm going to start with this medium light brown and keep my brush strokes going back and forth. And just make sure that I bring my brush all the way off my canvas and that I get the paint soaked in nicely to that canvas texture. All right, doesn't have to be perfect. That's looking pretty good. And I think we can go ahead and rinse that brush now and use the same one for the sky. So now that I know where I'm going to end, I'm going to start up top with my ultramarine blue. It's going to be my darkest, like beginning of night sky color. Load that up in my brush and just take that opposite here on the top. Gorgeous ultramarine blue. Love that color, but I love my cobalt too, so I figured let's use both. But if you just have one, that's okay too. You would go with a darker blue up top, maybe a navy blue with a little bit of black, just a tiny touch. All right, so I want a nice solid stripe of that ultramarine, and I'm gonna bring it down a little bit further and start to mix in my cobalt. So you can see there a little bit of a difference in that hue. The ultramarine has a little bit of red in it. Makes it a tiny bit purplish. Okay. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit more ultramarine up top just to make sure things are nice and saturated. Great. Okay, so I've blended my ultramarine into a mixture of my ultramarine and cobalt. Kind of walking my way down here. And then I'm going to take just some cobalt with a little bit of white and bring that right underneath. Make sure you still want to have some space here. You don't want to go too far down with the blues. Now, because blue and yellow mixed together, we're going to create green. And we don't typically see green in sunsets. We're going to avoid that. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to now blend this blue away into white. So I'm just going to rinse the blue out of my brush. And let's start with a nice, very light blue right underneath that stripe of cobalt. And what we want to do here is start to blend the blues together. Don't be shy, bring your brush up into that section before. Keep those brush strokes long, going back and forth. It's a good dexterity practice. And that's about the look we're going for. Gradation-wise, we're looking good. And then I'm going to take it even lighter right underneath. Very good. Okay, and then there we go. Rinsing my brush thoroughly again. Gonna grab some of my yellow, add a touch of white as well. I'm going to take this yellow right along the brown wood. Okay. Nice color contrast here. Okay. Looks good. And then a little bit of a lighter yellow just right on top. And then you see we've gone from yellow to white and blue to white instead of mixing in green. And then let's add a little bit of orange too, just for fun. I think I'm gonna grab a smaller brush for that. I'm gonna use this medium-sized brush and going to go right along the horizon line with some orange and just blend that right into the yellow, just for another little added sunset touch. If you want, you don't even have to if you don't want to, but I thought that would look nice. And orange and blue are complementary, so they look nice together. All right, and just making sure that this is nice and filled in. Might need to touch that up slightly later. Let's do our final step here for this first layer, which we should be able to put right on top. And I'm gonna take like a dark green with my phthalo green, a little bit of black and some white, not too much white, that was probably a little too much. Running out of space here, that's okay. So we're almost done with this first layer. Okay, a nice neutral, gorgeous forest green, love that color. And I'm going to just do a few little treetops. Really subtle, just like, again, like this is second floor balcony perhaps, or third floor. So we're seeing the little tops of the trees in our yard or our neighbor's trees. And it's blending a little bit with the white and the yellow, and that's okay because they're pretty close by color-wise. I'm just doing some trees over there, and then I'll do another little peekaboo tree top over here, but I want to leave a little bit of peekaboo orange still as well. Very subtle. Just some tree tops. Curved brush strokes, a little bit of variation in my color. Nice and dark green. Kind of build those like I would clouds. Thunderheads. Okay, that looks good. Everything is filled in, saturated. We have no white canvas left. Let's go ahead and step away for a bit and let this layer dry, and we'll come back and add a whole bunch more. I'll see everyone in a few. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a fully dry background and some fresh colors here on a new piece of palette paper. So I once again have some more of my warm burnt sienna brown, some black and white, and then of course some red and some blue. I rinsed my brushes and got some fresh water at break as well. Let's go ahead and jump right back on into it, and we are going to now tackle our glasses. And what we want to do here is we're going to start with a very light outline. So I'm going to use white for this, and my second to smallest detail brush. Use whatever brush you feel the most comfortable with as far as the two small detail ones. And then I'm going to, I think, probably start with my center drink and bring it up here into the blue, but not too high because I want to leave room for my sparkler. So I have two equal length horizontal lines. They're even here as much as I can. I'm eyeballing it, we're winging it. And then I'm just going to connect the two lines with a little bit of a flare out. Just like so. And this is just our sketch, so we're going to end up keeping our outermost lines, and we're going to mostly have this all covered up and filled in. So there's a little bit of wiggle room here as we do this. So if you start a little bit sort of blocky, that's okay. And then we're just going to curve things out a little bit. Okay, curve on one side. And then this top part is actually going to also have a little bit of a rounded lip here. Okay, so there's our top part, and then connecting these lines. I like to start pretty light-handed. And I can come back and pick a little bit of a better sketch line. And then I'm also gonna have a little bit of a curve here at the bottom. And there we should have our nice little sort of pint glass or cocktail glass. And now we're just going to repeat those same steps right next door. And again on the other side. So for me, it's easier to start with this horizontal, just so I have everything straight, because these would be sitting straight there on our little wood table or ledge. So I'm just eyeballing things here. My eyes are always darting around, looking over here, evening that up, looking down here, trying to get those evened up. And I'm going to try my best to make these the same size and shape That could be a tall ask, but we're gonna try. Okay, so there we have our main little beer glass shape, and then we're just making that into a little bit of a oval up top, like so. A little bit of a curve here at the bottom. We're not even gonna see that line, so don't worry about that. And just gonna adjust things a little bit, as I already see a little bit of a difference in size. That's okay. If you try your best and things look pretty good, it'll be fine. Okay. And just evening that out, and then I'm off to my third glass here. Okay, this is the most technical part of the painting today. A little bit trickier with this guy, just because my hand is blocking. Okay, 2 even lines. And a slight curve out. Hopefully we still see a little bit of a peekaboo of some trees behind us, behind our glasses. Don't want to cover up our hard work too much. But that's just how it goes sometimes when you're layering with acrylics. Right. A quick and easy way to do some glasses. Good sketch practice today too. Okay, those look pretty good. We're gonna go with it. And as we fill in, we can kind of even things out a little bit too. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab now my medium-sized brush again. And I'm going to just load up some red. I might need just a pinch of white, but I don't want to bring it all the way to pink. And I think I'm going to start all the way here at the left. And we're just going to do a red stripe here at the top. Just like so. And we can bring the red pretty far up to cover some of the sketch lines. But I'm keeping that back one. And then I'm filling it in with red. Just blending a tiny bit with my white outline, but I want to try to get that nice and solid red. Red, white, and blue. It's not pink, white, and blue. And I'm wanting to do thirds or so. So that should be about right. In my creative process, I was thinking, what kind of cocktail would this be? So I'm thinking it's like a slushy type drink with 3 different flavors. Maybe like blueberry, coconut, raspberry. And just working my way across and copying the same layers across the 3 glasses. This is a very like 4th of July aesthetic type shot here. Like we got a nice photograph of our drinks. I'm very much this kind of super artsy host, probably to the annoyance of foodies who care more about the taste. But I'm very artistic with my presentations, and I do often like to get photos of things as well, so everyone can just wait. I enjoy eating as well, but I enjoy playing with my food. I also like things that are really brightly colored and super flavorful. Just like how I like most kinds of music and bright colors. I'm just that kind of person. All right, a little bit of white in there. Again, not pink, but just to up the opacity a little maybe. Cute, coming along. Rinsing my brush. Nice big white stripe now right in the center of each of our beverages. All right. We should have some pretty good coverage power with this white, and try not to blend it yet with the layers. Instead, I'm going to bring it right up towards it, and then I'm going to grab my little brush, and I'm going to do a little squiggle to blend the two colors. Rinse my brush, and then do another squiggle coming into the white. You should get a little dainty blend. Just like we layered 2 layers of slushy drink on top of each other. And I think I'm going to just go ahead and finish off this one over here with my cobalt. I'm going to fill this in down to the sketch line. Covering those outer sketch lines. We are going to go over those again though, so don't worry if it still looks a little bit messy. It's part of the process. Trust the process. Okay, and just getting that all filled in with blue. And then we're going to do that same little trick. Grabbing my smaller brush. And I actually need a little bit of white right over here before I do this. Okay, and I still have a tiny little bit of white on my brush, and I'm coming in here and just wiggling the 2 colors together. Very, very light-handed. When I was taking my very first painting class, when I was 5 years old, I remember that they told us to pretend like we're painting on the back of a bug, and you don't want to crush the bug. So that's what we're doing with that step, with that little blend. Very delicate, no bug crushing. Okay, next beverage here. I'm gonna grab that big brush again and just repeat those same steps. Oops, got a little splatter. Let's see if we can fix that real quick. I'm just grabbing a clean brush. Sometimes when the paint is really wet, you can kind of just brush it away and not pull up the layer underneath. If you keep working it, sometimes you do start to pull up that background color, so just be mindful of that. But that's a quick little oopsie trick. Or you could be like Bob Ross and turn them into happy accidents. We are having sparklers added later, so perhaps it could be a spark, happy little spark. And same idea here, just filling it in. And I'm going to switch brushes, do a little wiggle, And another little wiggle. No bug crushing. Okay. This one needed extra wiggling. That looks pretty good. There's no such thing as perfection when it comes to blending your colors together. Remember that. Don't work too hard. Gonna take my cobalt blue now, fill that in, starting to get that patriotic look. This is also would be a great painting for French flag. So perhaps for Bastille Day, the French Independence Day. And what other flags are red, white, and blue? There are a few, but I can't remember. I'm not good at remembering the flags. I am good at geography, but can't tell you what their flag would look like. All right, and switching back to the small brush. Second to smallest brush, rather. For just a little bit of wiggling. And again, use a smaller brush if you're more comfortable with my teeny tiny detail brush, but usually he's just on hand for the very fine details. All right, looking cute. It's going to just have a really cohesive look overall once we get all three filled in. Super cute. Definitely making me want a blended beverage. Switching back and forth, working quick. My red is barely wet anymore. I live in a very dry climate. Back when I lived in the Pacific Northwest, it would take a long time. But here in the Southwest, maybe that's why artists like it, because our paint dries faster. Okay, a little bit of wiggling. Dainty little blend. Subtle. Okay, and some blue. Covering our treetops, but that's okay. All right, we are almost finished with our main part of the painting today, the focal points. Okay. And we just need a little wiggle. Sometimes it's nice to come in with a little bit of white for blending. I'm definitely a painter that uses a lot of white, which is why you'll see I have a thinner body white. I've gotten a few comments on that before. Do not worry, you don't have to use a thinner body white. It's cheaper and I use so much. And if you know a little bit about paint, acrylic paint is essentially liquid plastic and pigment. And you pay the big bucks for the pigment. The pigment's what's expensive. And the pigment is what will drive you crazy when you're blending and things turn muddy and they don't look how you want. So the only cheap paint that I use is white, because in that case you're just paying for basic flat, no pigment, liquid plastic. And a lot of times the cheap white is also very opaque, which I like as well. So I should put a little mention of that in the materials. I like to typically recommend my students stick with the Grumbacher paints because they're a little higher quality and they're easy to blend no matter what color you're using. Okay, it looks really cute. I'm liking it. Let's leave those alone for now. I'm going to come down into my little porch area, my little ledge. Same brush, rinsed it. And I took a little bit of brown and black together, and I'm going to just find this nice outline here. It's a nice line of separation. That's the first brush stroke we did today. Finding that horizon line again. Okay, and then around our bibs, we're gonna have a little bit of shadow. Just like so. And then we're gonna have a little bit also of wood grain texture, and I do that by doing like a little curve like that, and then you can do a little line inside the curve and it starts to sort of look like a knot. And you can do them going both ways, and you can do them with multiple curve lines too, and then just some back and forth texture as well. Very nice, mostly just horizontal brush strokes. And make sure you get some shadows around your cups. Okay. Cute. Okay, let's go up into our sky now. And we are going to start with white, and we're gonna add our sparklers. This is a really fun part. So this top one, I'm going to have it be a little bit slanted. And then this one, I'm gonna have a little bit slanted off to the other side. I'm just using white here. And they're still pretty centered, because you wanna have space. You don't necessarily wanna go off the edge. And then I'm gonna do another one slanted this way, but maybe just a tiny bit more slanted. Very cute. And then we're going to do a little flare explosion from each one of these. And we just start by pushing your brush in the center, and then you're going to come out in all different directions and trail that brush stroke off. Okay, so you have a little fun explosion, but then you're also going to do a few little additional sparks, and that's really what gives it that sparkler look. Okay, very cute. Less is more. It's tempting to keep going with that, but just a little all the way around, and then a few little extra sparkly guys. Okay. Definitely in my original, I went a little too far, too much. Oops, I added some red. It's kind of pretty, but I'm gonna cover it. And I might need to come back when that's fully dry and just touch that up slightly. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it. Cute. Okay. That almost looks too even. And they almost look like snowflakes. Okay. Almost added too many with that one, because that pink threw me. Cute. All right. Perhaps not the most effective place to put a sparkler. Now you have to wait, and I'm not sure if you should do this in real life, because they might have some sort of chemical that you're adding to your beverages, but sometimes I like to paint things that I wouldn't do in real life. All right, and then we're gonna do a cherry on top, of course. Gotta do a little cherry for our cherry sparkler. I'm going to take just a pinch of black into my red and make a darker red. And I'm just going to top a cherry here on top of each one of these guys. 2 little rounds like so. Very cute. Probably a little bit bigger. Okay, and I can grab my tiny little brush for a quick little cherry highlight. On each of my cherries, super cute. We can also add a little cherry stem with our teeny tiny brush. See, there's sometimes where this guy comes in handy. Okay, cute. Okay, and then I'm also going to take just a little bit of black up along the stick part of the sparkler, just to give that a little bit more definition. Stands out a little better. Cute. And then our final touch is going to be some highlights, and it's very important to make our glasses look cohesive, but we want to wait until this is fully dry, so we actually need to step away one more time, and then we'll come back and add the final touch. I'll see you all in a few. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a mostly dry mid layer here, and I'm just coming in to add those final details and touch up anything that needs touching up. So I wanted to cover that little bit of pink that I had pulled through before. I'm also going to take a little bit of a light brown for some highlights in my wood as well. I still have that same second to smallest detailed brush, and that's just going to give another little nice element here for our wood grain. Okay, we can kind of highlight little wood grains that we created. Looking cute, and I might even go one shade lighter for a few nice light highlights. Okay, that looks pretty good. Going to very delicately with some black just outline my trees, at least the ones that I can still see, and also maybe add a little bit of sort of scruffy texture in there. Just like so. Very slight, a little bit of scruffiness maybe. Okay. All right, and then take a little bit of black over here and have some water in there to make sure it's going nice and smooth. A little more. Okay, and then I'm going to go right along the top part again and around the back. We are sort of outlining those initial shapes, and our cherry is going to be in the glass, so make sure you don't go right through it like I did just then. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to take that black and very gently outline my cup shape. Just those same lines that I had when I first started. And here at the bottom too. Nice clean outline, covering up those sketch lines if we still saw them. Okay, and then we're also going to then rinse the black out of our brush. We're going to do a little white highlight right along that same black edge a little bit. And it's okay if it blends a little bit to gray, but we want to try to have just those two colors right next to each other. And then also, we're gonna have a few streaks in our glass, just like so. Maybe one right along the edge there. Okay, and you can see what a difference that makes. A little bit too thick of a black line, so you can come back with white. Sort of black and white together. Okay, very cute. Just decided to touch up those trees again. Final touches. All right, super easy way to do glassware. And making sure I have some nice shadows where the glass touches. Any other details that you might need to add. Finessing our shape every chance we get. And it's better to leave a little bit of sort of like fuzzy canvas texture than it is to go over this line and again and try to create a really solid one. I think I'm gonna go all the way across all three first. All right, coming together. Oh, I want to mention too, if you painted along today, I would love to see your work. I've created a Facebook group called the Art Club that is specifically designed for that purpose. I'd love to see your work, whether it be from painting along with me or just painting on your own, or any art that you create. Any medium is welcome. And there's a link in the description box below that will take you over there so you can join. I also pin it into the comments section for easy access. Okay, final little darkest shadows and lightest highlights. Getting a little sloppy over here. Okay, that's a little better. All right, and just a little bit of white, and we will be done. Right along the edge, up here. Let's do that highlight over here too. And all the way through the colors again. Okay. Looking pretty refreshing. Definitely ready for those fireworks to get started. All right, highlight there at the bottom and just a few little brush strokes for some shine right through. And you want to kind of mix them up, so not everyone looks the same. You just gotta think about the shape of the cup here and just bring the highlight in the direction of the shape. All right, pretty cute. Okay, little final details, however you need. You can put any good little last steps on your painting, but I think that's looking pretty cute. And then I think a really cute little final touch is I'm going to take my little baby brush here and add just a few little twinkly stars just to bring in that feeling of nightfall. All right, I'd love to hear what you thought of today's painting in the comments section below. Make sure to join us over in the art club. But that is all the instruction that I have for us this week. So until next time, happy painting, happy 4th of July, and stay creative.